thesis research on composite material optimization, a little bit of the FEA background. So I had interest from the beginning on the FEA and the design side.
So
Uh,
your thesis was on finite element design.
yes,
Okay.
it was on design optimization. So it's related to finite element, but it's basically just to, make some fly shapes, optimize fly shapes and make them manufacturable. So it's kind of a mix between design side and FEA side.
And when did
And then
you graduate in your master's? When?
May 2017.
May 2017. Okay, okay. Got it. Okay.
So yeah, but I was just working on little projects with my professor, and I was on pretty that was when I started looking for jobs and such. And I found a job started as a product development engineer for this company, NMC Water. It's a small company. They manufacture transport equipment they
Were you working
do
for Honda R&D at Columbus, or you were working for a subcontractor there?
I was working for a subcontractor.
Okay.
My client side was Honda R&D.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I know this. I have I one friend who used to work there actually. I live in Cleveland, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So after starting my job at NMC, after 1.5 years, I decided to move on to Goken America. So Goken was a subcontractor for Honda. So I started immediately as a level 2 design engineer. They offered me this a good job.
But did they offer you a
the-
visa? Did they offer a visa, or you were on OPT?
yes, they offered me to sponsor H1B visa.
No, no. But do you
So
have
I,
H1 or you don't? Did not?
so it's a complicated process. So what happened was I got my H1B visa after my employment termination.
Okay, okay.
So it was around September 16th. Honda had some project problems, so they had laid off a bunch of people. I was one of them, and Goken couldn't, obviously couldn't keep a lot of them, so they have terminated my employment. But
Right.
it was in the wrong place at the wrong time. After 2 weeks after my employment termination, my visa was approved.
Got
So I talked to a lot of lawyers, and they said that because I was not employed on October 1st when my H1B was approved, I'm not eligible for H1B transfer, normal process. So for me to do that, I had to go back to India, get a job offer letter, and then just get my visa stamped and come back. So it's all in all a complicated process.
So your H1 is still valid, or that petition is gone now?
Yeah, that's gone.
Okay.
That's completely gone. So it's basically if any employer wants me back again, they have to start an
Got it.
amendment. But I think the time has passed. It has to be within the 1 year. Otherwise, it has, again,
Right.
if someone wants me 2 years
So
later, it's
when you went back India, went back to India?
about October, about 2 months later, I've asked them, they said that I can still argue that I have 60 days
Yeah.
to stay. So I just tried my level best to get a job there, but the employers weren't really enthusiastic about my visa situation.
Right.
So I decided to come back, and
So you came back in October 2019 or something?
yeah, I came back in October 2019.
Okay.
So about 2 months. Sorry, November. My bad. November 2019. About 2 months after that.
So this all happened to you before even COVID hit, right? This is
Yes. I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, I came back this personal decision, given the financial and everything, financial situation and all that. So I started searching for new jobs here in India, but the situation is entirely different. It's more competitive, and it's much more they're much more strict on the number of years of experience. Even if it's 3 years, they wouldn't really consider me as an ideal candidate for the job. So I'm trying to get back to it. Meanwhile, I'm just doing
how was your experience finding a job in India as a master's student coming from US? Is it difficult, or is it?
most of them told that they wouldn't really consider that as a plus point because it's a master's. Like they would just consider me as some MTech
Right, right.
graduate.
Yeah. I mean,
Same.
masters is in MTech. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So it's the same thing all in all, which didn't really mind anything. It was
But were you looking for jobs
yeah.
mostly in automotive, or you were looking for jobs somewhere anywhere else too?
I'm looking for in every department possible because automotive is really fun, but that's not my main goal from the beginning. I wanted to do design engineering. I'm interested in CAD design. So I'm looking all around, but having entered into an automotive field and the next recruiter would kind of expect me to just have the same knowledge. They wouldn't expect me to have something like that knowledge on consumer products or on the medical device field. They wouldn't agree, like even if I said it's not a product line. So I wanted a certain kind of validation to prove them. So I'm just looking for that.
So
yes,
let me ask you this question. What is in your mind right now? Like what you are thinking? What options that you think you have?
So the most logical decision to make is to find a job here.
Mm-hmm.
In a long-term basis, like 5 years.
No, I'm talking about
5 years.
I'm talking about now action because you need some immediate action now. Forget about long term, right? So
Yeah, immediate action is to find a job, and I just definitely like to stay in the same stream, the mechanical engineering.
yeah, but
So
what I'm thinking is what are the chances for you to get a job there? That considering what's going on with job scenarios, I mean, in the US is the same thing. A lot of people are losing their jobs and coming back, to be honest. So my point here is, I mean, I to be honest with you, I know I have spoken with maybe 8 or 10 students from Arlington, and a
right.
lot of them are in the same situation. And I'm pretty sure by if you wait for another month or two, you will find a lot of people only from your university will be coming back, and there are a lot from other places. So yeah. So my do you think you may have any other option? Because my point here is I'm worried is how if you have to sit and like an idle for another year or so, it's not good for you.
Yes.
Just for your mental health included. So my point here is, do you know what other options do you have? What do you think? Because here's the thing. To be honest with you, since you are back now, you are on the same boat as any other person for coming back to US. So there is no way, right? There is the only way people come here as you were here for your education, and unfortunately it didn't work out. But once you're out from here, doesn't matter. It's the same thing, right? So that education, that everything has essentially no meaning for anybody to help, right? This is not going to help you.
The other option, the obvious answer would be get another degree.
No, but my point is like you can get another degree, but another. I mean, here's the thing. If you have loads of money in your pocket, then it's fine, right? You can take another degree. You can go somewhere else. That's. But my point here is, if you're gonna go for another master's in US or somewhere else, it's gonna cost you money, and even then, there is no surety, right?
Yeah, there's no surety. Like going back to US is the chances are really thin because my OPT is invalid anymore. So once
No, what I'm saying is, yeah, I mean that's the other thing too. So I mean, what I'm thinking is, you can come here or let's say US and you say, oh, I'm gonna do another master's, but how good it will be, right? Because as you said, right, you won't gonna get an OPT, so that's gonna throw up you on the same thing, same. So
I mean, switching careers to another stream, I was thinking maybe to get an MBA. If not USA, in Canada or US, once things go normal. Like
no, but my point here is, I think you're hitting to the right point now, because that's what I have in my mind also. But why you are thinking about Canada and US, and why not in India? That's my point. I mean, why you want to spend money so
Okay.
much that doing an MBA from US is going to cost you 4 times, just like
Right.
even a plain
Yes.
master. So my point here is, why you want to do that? Why not get an MBA? Here's my what I'm thinking, and I get this from your questions. You still feel that you want to come out and do things. And my philosophy would be for you is, and looking at the situation, right, is I think you
Right.
need to make a peace and say, I'm back home now. This is where I will be working, and this is where I will be doing things. You have to get
Right.
into that
Yes.
mindset first, to be honest, right? And there are simple reasons behind that, not just short term, but for long terms. Number one,
Right.
it will be extremely difficult for you and expensive for you to again go out and start the same process.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know whether you took a loan for your previous masters, and if you have a loan, adding another loan, I'm not sure if it's a good idea.
Well, thankfully, my loans are all paid off.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and
So,
yeah.
so
So,
that's extremely good then. Then you are in much better situation because, as I said, there are many students who are coming back home with a loan, right? So
I'm
if you have paid that loan, don't go back there because education is a business. It has nothing to do, right? Again, what I'm thinking is looking at the current scenario, right? It see what my point here is, looking in the long term also. I think even in India, whatever we are hearing and everything, I believe that in a year or so there will be many opportunities that will come. My advice to you would be is, if you look at what type of companies are going to come into India, start their start their business, or if they are moving from China, what would they need that I should be ready, because that process is going to take time, right? It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen with a course of year or 2 year or so, and by the time you will be ready with your MBA or any other degree. Again, this is just my thinking, but I would advise you to read more about it. So, for example, let me give you an example. Let's say if it's Harley Davidson and it says that I'm gonna move my plant from X country back to China, right? My question to would be, whom they will hire, who are those people, what are the skill set that will be required. So I would say, if you have an MBA in a supply chain, I believe that's a good thing because you will be a very important person. So again, in my opinion, for you, as I said, keep applying for jobs in India if you can find one. Right, you can do that. But at the same time, if you want to go to the next level, and in terms of salary, in terms of everything, in terms of career also, I would say it would be really good if you can get an MBA from India. You have to work hard, to be honest with you. I mean, there is no shortcut. See, let me tell you one thing. One thing what I always hear from people is they want to go out, and to be honest, it's the reason is because they just want to escape the hard work, because getting into MBA program in India, they know that they have to clear some tough exams, and it's finding an MBA or getting an MBA, getting a master outside is extremely easy. All you need is money in your pocket, right? So my point here is, you need to understand that there is no substitute for hard work, right? But if you are able to go through that process, I think you will be in much better situation because you will avoid lot of things. That's my so again, if I have to summarize from my end, I would say, I mean, let's say you say, and I don't know, there is another way, another thing also where you say, I may be interested, can I go for a PhD? If that is the case, that's fine, because you can always come for a PhD. It will be in a scholarship. You will be here. You will be in the system. You have already done your masters. Again, that's you need to decide that, right? And then you have to get master admission into a PhD program. You have already your GRE and TOEFL score must be valid, or or,
yeah.
or or GRE
It's
score.
the GRE score was like back in 2014, something 5-year valid.
Okay. Okay. So maybe you have to give GRE again
I
then.
do, yeah, I have IELTS too.
Yeah.
So
But again, in from US, I'm saying so you have to give GRE again if you want to come back to US or GMAT or same thing. But again, if you go for a PhD program, it would be almost no cost for you. But again, 4 or 5 years commitment, and it's a totally different stream. You have to be of that mindset. The other thing would be you say I can join an MBA program from US, but it's gonna cost you minimum 130 140K, and nowadays all the classes are online and they are forcing them to online, and you hear these stories about like a person has paid that much fees and they are saying, oh, you can't come, you have to go online. So, and I don't know how long this situation lasts. So what I'm saying is that you don't let's say if everything goes fine, maybe the situation is going to take a year before any grad student's going to come to US. You're going to waste your 1 year,
yeah,
right? The situation is such, I think it's going to come on your, it is forcing you to say, you have to stay in India, whatever you want to do back there, right? So definitely you can look for a job, diversify your portfolio, look for jobs anywhere, but I'm not sure what is the job situation in India right now too. And just by hearing it, I'm not sure if anybody's hiring, just like here.
it's almost all the companies are like
Right. So
just
my advice to you would be is, go back to school. I'm not sure if you have already passed the deadline for that. That I don't know.
I have to check, but
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a viable option.
Yeah.
Especially looking at from the mechanical engineer point of view,
Right.
the chances are thin, and it's all narrowed down.
And you live in Hyderabad, right?
Yes, I live in
Yeah.
Hyderabad,
So I would
I
say
came back.
there are so many good schools, business schools there. I mean, it is almost tough as anyone to get there. But what I'm saying is, I'm more worried about, forget about your job. I'm more worried about your mental health to be at this point too. So my advice to you would be is be engaged. Don't sit at home. Be engaged. Do something. And going back to school, study is one of the best things that anybody can do. And to be honest with you, anybody who is here not able to find a job or are an OPT or being laid off in H1 are going back to school. Same thing, right?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I wish I had that choice, but it was like my F1 was deactivated and my H1B was gone, so I almost didn't have chance to join and
Yeah,
get
I
an
mean,
F1 visa.
yeah. But what I'm saying, you don't should feel. To be honest with you, you were in US for 2 years. You know their challenges, right? I don't think
Right.
a person like you should think that way. To be honest, because you have seen grass on both ends, and it's not a piece of cake in living here too. So I don't think you should think that way. As far as it's about life is all about experiences, right? You had a certain experience, but let's say if you are able to find a good job, and I know many friends, to be honest, I know many friends who had done their masters when I was doing my PhD, and they went back home, and they by purposely went back home, and some of them are working at Adobe, somebody are working in BMW and things like that in India too, and they're fine, they're happy, they're with their family.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's not a bad idea to get in India at all.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that was the whole point.
yeah, and one thing I would also tell you: don't think too much what people will say. It's all about your life, and I'm pretty sure as I said, it's unfortunate that happened to you, but as I said, I'm glad that it happened to you way before than people who are in this situation anyway now. So you are not alone, to be honest. And I'm telling you, just wait for August. There are so many students that are coming back because their OPT and everything is going to get expired in next 1 month or so. And I have spoken to lot of them, just from your university. Forget about others. So there are so many of them that are going through the same problem and they are circumventing it. So they are saying, okay, can we do MBA? Can I go and join masters? Can I do a PhD program? Or there is no choice, they have to come back. I'm glad that you don't have a loan and you have an experience. So I think you leverage that. And as I said, you never know. I mean, you can find a job in a good company and you become a manager. They send you out for another 3 4 years in some other country. I mean, you can have fun there too. So it doesn't matter, right? But what I'm saying is don't sit idle, because
Yeah, I've been working on a few home projects. Like, I have
right,
I've
don't
got
sit
like a
idle.
CAD software
Right,
and
right. Don't
things.
sit idle at all. As I said, you can keep applying for jobs, that's fine. But if you feel like it's not working out, or I'm not able to do things, because what I'm thinking is, even let's say if you find a job, it can happen down the road that you are like, I'm not enjoying it. I don't enjoy it at all. So you may have to force yourself to say, I want to do an MBA or something. And as I said, you already have experience, so it's not a bad idea to be honest, join an MBA program and move out. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, my MBA plans were like down the line in 10 years. I was planning to get an
yeah.
MBA, like
But
depending on my
yeah, but
capacity. But
I think you're ready now.
uh,
You're ready now. So again, it all
so
depends on it. Let's say if you're able to find a job in next 2 3 months, depends on what you have in your mind. Like, by the time I should have find a job. But what I'm saying, you don't just be fixated on, I will find a job and this will happen. I would say just prepare for plan A, plan B type of thing, where you say, okay, I'm gonna find, but at the same time I'm gonna work on, see if there are MBA programs I can enroll and all that, and work both things together. And to be honest, in India also, I know there are working professional programs. They call evening classes or so. That I know even I am they do that, evening classes for working professional. So people have done that. So it's not like, even let's say we are able to find a job, you can still do an MBA at the side.
yeah, I have to admit, like for the first 1.5 to 2 months, it was mentally stressful.
No,
Like
no, I
90,
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, no, no, I completely
but
agree, and I understand. That you have invested that much time, and everything is unfortunate that happened. But as I
yeah,
said, if you look at now, it's like everybody is having this issue. Everybody.
right.
To be honest with you, I don't know what's going to happen to my job too, right? So nobody is in the same case, because private sector is a private sector, right? So but
It's never like.
right.
But yeah, MBA. I've been thinking about it, but I didn't know if that's the right, um, direction to go for. I was thinking maybe I can go to Canada or something, but I didn't think about going in India, like which is economical in so many ways. I can, it's tough, true, but we need time to do tough things, and obviously, I
See,
think.
what I'm saying is, why you are thinking of going to Canada, you need to understand that. Just don't go because you have to go out from India. Don't. I don't endorse that. Another thing actually you can do, to be honest with you, because you already have a degree from US, you will have some colleges that they may hire you as a professor. Think on that way too, to be honest. You will get, so there are many colleges there that they will be ready to accept you because you have a outside. So my point here is, and they pay you better than actually the private sector. So what I'm
Right.
saying is, you can have many options, and to be honest with you, that may not be a bad job if things work out. Who knows? You're gonna start enjoying it,
Yeah.
right? So think in that direction also. Maybe that may be something that I would like to do. Let's see what happens. I may start enjoying, and you know have a career in that direction.
So with this professor job, like, does it help that I have like a research background a little bit? Like it's just a master's thesis program,
Yeah, it
but
doesn't. So I'm not
does
saying
it
I'm
help?
I'm not saying that you're gonna get a job at IIT or something. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that private schools, they hire. I know they hire at assistant professor level, even the master students also. And since you have a degree from
Right.
outside, you may get a preference. That's what I'm thinking. Because ideally, if you want to apply at good schools like NITs and things like that, or IITs or something, you have to have a PhD. All I'm saying is, I want you to get out from home and start working or do something, and then you can build on that. Okay?
Right. And I have like one last question that I wanted to check.